Well, I said I'd vlog, but I'm really too tired to vlog. I don't want to disappoint you because you answered my call to ask me some questions so I would have material to vlog about. But I'm awfully tired because I've been traveling the last 3 weekends. 3 weekends ago, I went to Madison, one of my usual trips back home to do some Madison things to get refreshed with Madisonosity. You know, it helps me a lot to get re-Madisonized. I have to do it at least once a month. And then last week I went down to Florida to see my nephew play golf. He's in the PGA tournament, so I went down to see him play. But it was very hard because it's still hot in Florida, and the golf course didn't have any shade. When I've gone to golf courses up here in the north, I've gone to watch my nephew play at Brown Deer in Milwaukee, and also someplace in Illinois I've gone to. Both of those places had a lot of shade, and I would walk from shade spot to shade spot. I would stay out of the sun, but there was no escape from the sun at this Florida golf course called Tesoro. I didn't like it. I felt really oppressed by the hot sun. It's hard. It's hard to watch golf. It's very demanding if you follow a particular golfer around the way I do. Some people just sort of park themselves in the bleachers at the 18th hole or the 10th hole or something like that, they bring little chairs and go to some other hole. But if you're following your person around, it's actually very hard. And if there's no shade and it's hot, it's hard. And even though you might think it seems like a sort of an elitist activity to go to a fancy golf course and watch a PGA event, they don't let you in the clubhouse. It's marked off for exclusive use. The players and the members of the club and the immediate family members. So even though I'm in the family, I'm not absolute immediate family. I'm an aunt, so I can't get in, and that means you basically are on your own out there, and you have to use porta potties, and there's just nothing out there but a hot sun. And one point we were standing on the grass, and one of the attendants came over and said, "Don't stand there. There's fire ants." So there were hidden pitfalls as well. So that was last week, and then this week I had agreed to go out to Stanford Law School to just do a panel on blogging, and I'll put up a link to the audio of that. That'll be up, so you can just listen to that. Listen to what we talked about. Typical, questions about blogging. Probably the most interesting question was someone asked why there was only one woman on the panel, which was me, and there were 5 men and me. So that what could you say? People try to drive the women away. I said you can listen to the audio, but I said I think that everybody's pretty independent and pushing for their trying to stand their ground and get their traffic in the blogosphere and knock other people out of it. It's a kind of a big fight, at least in the political blogosphere, and I think people think that they can push women out of it because women will be too sensitive if they're told that people don't like them, don't love them, or possibly even hate them. So, I've been suffering various hate attacks that I'm not even in the mood to talk about right now because why should I give them more attention? But, there are a lot of efforts to make you uncomfortable if you're not willing to put up with things. And I think a lot of women aren't. And the idea that men will moderate what they do to welcome women because women ought to be encouraged to enter the field, I don't see that happening. I think when people are really fighting for their ground, they'll take advantage of women's desire to be nice and to be liked and to not be hated. But I'm putting up with it for some reason. I don't know why. I just love to blog and vlog. And you can listen to the rest of that audio. But that's just to say that's why I was out in California. I was kicking myself that I had planned that trip after doing these other 2 weeks of travel. So I decided to stay in San Francisco, not stay in Palo Alto. I just went to Palo Alto just for the panel, which was yesterday. And I spent Saturday and Sunday in San Francisco, which turned out to be pretty fun, partly because I decided to coddle myself by staying at the nicest hotel in town, which I do from time to time because I don't like traveling. and it can be a comfort. It can be nice in a lot of ways. And the first night, Saturday, I was at it was the Ritz-Carlton in San Francisco, a very nice hotel. Not perfect. There are other good hotels too, but I'd stayed there before and I knew it was nice. And I knew it had a nice lobby lounge. And if you're a woman traveling alone, which I often am, there's nothing like a lobby lounge in your hotel, because if you want to be able to get out of your room late at night and maybe have a glass of wine, I have my glass of wine here. I have a glass of wine and some nibbles. The lobby lounge, a nice lobby lounge can be great, and the Ritz-Carlton is a particularly nice one because not just because it's posh and pretty and has a fireplace and good service and so on, but because they also have a guy that makes sushi at least 6 nights a week or something. Not on Sunday, but it's very nice to have excellent sushi with caviar and stuff in it in your own hotel. So I called the blogger meeting. I wanted to meet some of my readers who are in the San Francisco area. And so I named the time and place, and I made it Saturday night in the lobby lounge at the Ritz-Carlton. It was kind of pretty cool. And one of the readers that I met there turned out to want to take me on a drive the next day. So on Sunday, I went on a drive north of San Francisco up to Bolinas, which is this mysterious hippie town where it's very hard to find because the locals take down the sign because they don't want outsiders to come in. They just vandalize the sign whenever the state puts it up. But my reader who had the car and took me for a drive knew how to get there, and so we got out and walked around. I took a lot of pictures, and it was really, really fun, especially driving in this Porsche 911 Turbo car that he had. Drive up the twisty roads. I mean, I like to do that as a driver in my little sports car, my pathetic little sports car, my Audi TT, compared to the Porsche 911. That was really cool. I mean, I like a cool car. And we were talking about how women and men react to a car. And one thing was that you could see the guys look at the car. Maybe guys get a car like that to appeal to women. But in fact, it was guys that noticed the car, young guys. There were some teenage kids that looked at the car, and you could see that they knew what it was and that they were impressed by it. But actually, women not so much. But I really like the car. I'm really impressed by the car, and just the way of driving the car that you can do if you have a challenging road. And these are interesting, challenging roads where they film car commercials and movie chases and things like that. So it was really fun to go for that ride. That was, I did other stuff in San Francisco, a little shopping, walking around, photography, things like that. So that took some of the edge off doing another trip and flying all the way out there. I mean, when I agreed to do it, I didn't think about how it takes 6 hours to fly from New York to San Francisco, and that basically I'd be stuck taking the red eye back, going to the airport at 10 o'clock at night to get a flight that wouldn't get to New York until wouldn't get to New York at 6 a.m., the time change, you have to figure that out. But, so I got like 2 hours of sleep on that flight, and then 2 more hours of sleep after I got back to my apartment here. But I had to go and teach a class this afternoon. I had to prepare the class and teach the class after all of that. So it was a little crazy. And yet I put up a post asking you to give me questions to blog, which is possibly crazier than all of this. And how am I really going to do it? Well, one thing I could say is, I've already talked for 9 minutes. What the hell did I talk about? I don't even know. So I'm not even going to, that means I don't have time to get to your questions unless I also do editing. What did you ask me? I appreciate all your questions. There was talk of wine. There was talk of what European country are you? I took the quiz. I'm Italian. Whatever that means. It's another internet quiz. Look how frazzled I am. Don't you feel sorry for me? And the one thing I know is that if I stop this video before it hits 10, I can save a lot of time on the editing. So I'm going to sign off.